Arabs wanted to bring on Israel during the Yom Kippur War in 1973. Yet, thanks to divine intervention and thousands of brave IDF fighters, they were all repelled, and Israel even managed to expand its land. I was curious to find out more about the war, and so in 2017 I visited Israel to discover the areas where the most savage battles were fought. I landed in Tel Aviv one August afternoon and rented a car to travel around the country, in particular to the Valley of Tears in the Golan Heights. I also wanted to learn more about the bravery of a handful of men who, through their actions of heroism, gave everything they could to save their motherland. To do this, I arranged to meet 3 veterans, all of whom fought in the Yom Kippur War. They were Armoured Company Commander Amnon Sharon, Tank Battalion Commander Avigdor Kahalani, and Sergeant Major Uri Ehrenfeld. Sharon and Ehrenfeld were unfortunately captured and tortured while on duty during the war, whereas Kahalani fought in the Golan Heights, ultimately leading its battalion to victory. First, Sharon and I drove to the Bettelheim Rehabilitation Center for the Veterans in the north of Tel Aviv.
This is Bettelheim, Tel Aviv.
The center helps injured veterans readjust to life outside the army and provides a place to meet others who had gone through a similar experience.
I'll explain to you first of all a little bit about the organization itself. The organization is called the Tzahal Disabled Veterans Organization. The word Tzahal meaning IDF, but its 50,000 members come not only from the IDF, they are from the IDF, from the Mossad, from the police, and from the secret services. So between 1949 and today, which is when the organization was created, it's a non-governmental registered charity, we have over 50,000 members, and a member is somebody who was wounded while serving, either in the regular or in the reserves, regular army or in the reserves, and remained with a lifelong disability. So anyone who was wounded and remained disabled for life becomes a member of the Tzahal Disabled Veterans Organization.
Beit Halochem has a big swimming pool, a gym, a huge garden and various exhibition areas. It was here during lunch when Sharon recounted his harrowing experience during the Yom Kippur War.
Now we are sitting in the restaurant in Bettelheim in Tel Aviv, and this is the good life. I want to tell you about the bad life. I remember a very, very difficult interrogation. I will show you later the instrument there, that I wanted to die. I was lying in the jail in Damascus. All my body, they broke again and again, all my body. I was crashing, bleeding, everything. I started to build a method that in that time I even didn't understand that it's a method, that there are tools, but I use them. The first, as I told you before, the prayer. The second, I started to dream when I was awake. I know today the psychologists called it imagine instruction, דמיון מודרך.
The figurines you can see on this video were made by Sharon and depict him in positions in which the Syrians tortured him during the months of captivity. Sharon was in the reserve army in the south of the Golan Heights when the Syrians captured him. They took him to a prison camp where they tortured him for months.
אחד, שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד, שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך אתה, אדוני אלוהינו, מלך העולם, שהכל נהיה בדברו. ברוך אתה, אדוני אלוהינו, מלך העולם, שהכל נעשה בדברו. אדוני אלוהים, תן לי כוח להמשיך, תן לי בריאות, שמור עליי ועל כל המשפחה שלי, אמן, אמן, אמן. That is the prayer. After 5 months on the floor, it was very difficult. I got a mattress, small mattress, full strawberry, you know, stink and smells, bad smells, you know. I lie, raise my hand and I say, Hilton, Sheraton, 5 stars now. And after an hour, my mood was down. Maybe they gave the mattress. I will be here years, forever. When I was set free from the army, after many years as a colonel, with my son, we opened a factory of mattresses and beds.
After Beit Halochem, we drove to Latrun, an old British military base.
And I started as a driver, and in Yom Kippur I was commander of company with tanks like this.
Here, he showed me the tank he used to drive and explained how a tank functioned.
They took a tank peton, and we want to show how the crew is inside in the tank. Here is the commander of the tank. Here is the gunner. You see?
Yep.
And here is the driver.
Later, we sat in the cinema where the museum screens short films in English and Hebrew about the various wars Israel has fought during its short history. Latrun is also home to a memorial wall listing all the fallen soldiers, including some of Amnon's friends. From Latrun, we drove back to Tel Aviv, where I arranged to meet Avigdor Kahalani the next day. Kahalani served in the Golan Heights and led his battalion to victory against the Syrians.
Amnon suffered a lot in Yom Kippur War, and he found himself in the jail in Syria, and he suffered a lot. He is in the post-trauma now. He's a good friend of mine. I used to be his commander.
Later in life, he became a member of the Knesset and a minister in government.
For all my life, I was the division commander. I fought in Lebanon, and we protect the country from generation to generation. My father fought for the country. I fought for the country. I have 2 tank commanders in my family. There are 2 sons, and my daughter, she served in the Armoured Corps, and my grandson just finished the time service in the army. And it's come from generation to generation. King Solomon has said, we should protect the country from generation to generation. It's one generation come, one generation go, and Israel forever will stay. This is a saying from the Bible. Anyway, you know, to be a combat soldier, it's hard. And if you make the decision to be a combat soldier, it should be strong enough and understand what you're going to meet and who you're going to meet in the combat, on the field. This is hard.
At his apartment, he told me about his life and career. Kahalani also recounted his experience during the Yom Kippur War at the Golan Heights.
We fought in the Golan Heights for 18 days. We start on Saturday, It's Yom Kippur in Israel. It's the holiday in our country, and we've been in defense position for 4 days: Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and Saturday, of course. The ratio between them and us was sometimes 1 tank Israeli against 8 or 10 tanks, Syrian tanks. The kind of our tanks, we use British tanks, it's Centurion. And I thought that we have better tank in the world, but it wasn't true. Because the silhouette of their tanks was 1 meter lower than our tanks. And all the tank was a camouflage color. We couldn't identify them. And the armor was better than us in the tank. And the gun, the main gun, they have 115 millimeter gun, Soviet. And we had 105. They could shoot far away, more than 4 kilometers, 5 kilometers. And infrared system, they have infrared system, and they used to shoot during the night without any obstacles. The problem that the first night it was very hard for me to lead my people, because I didn't have answer to the situation, how to shoot them during the night. I knew that if we will wait till the morning and we can stop them until the morning, we will win. And we did it. We shot many shells to their direction to give them the feeling that Israel army waiting for them. And my commanders, Janusz Bengal, is almost like your name, and he decided to withdraw to the second line. The last moment he sent me to the front line to try to stop them there. And this combat was really hard. And my problem at that moment was to lead my people to invade against to the hills, that we should be there to protect the area, to stop them there. And I found myself that I give many orders and nobody joined me. And I had to convince them how to move. And I found a way. And I did it.
How did you do it? What did you? So say, for example, you gave an order and nobody wanted to do it. Then how?
Yeah, first I was battalion commander, and usually you talk with 3 or 4 company commander. And company commander talk with all the rest of the tanks. And I called them, and I was in between. We were being like 12 tanks, and over the hills I saw. I was the only person that I saw around 150, 160 tanks coming to the hills. And we've been here, and they were here. And I was on the side, and I saw that. And I moved to the area here, and I found 12 tanks. And I decided to move forward to be on the top of the hills to stop them. But the time was so short, who is going to win to be on the hills? Because we can stop them. And I was here, and I couldn't talk and give orders, and nobody moved. I realized maybe not all the soldiers listened to my voice, because they use another frequency in the radio. And I decided to move all of them to my frequency. And I ordered them to move, and I found myself moving in the front and alone, maybe 1 tank joined me. And I decided to use the last weapon that I had, is talk about the value of our life, talk about the spirit of the Jewish nation. And I told them, look what happened. Look the Syrian soldiers, how they fight so well. Look the motivation of them. What happened to us? We are Jew. We're better than them. And I see chicken in my unit. If you won't join me, join. And I start to move. And I look back and I saw another tank joined me, another tank. And I pray to the God, please give me to be on the top of the hills before they will come. And we arrived. Some tanks were they've been there already, but we shot them. And the valley was dark. And I was the only person that I knew what's going on there. And we started to shoot like crazy. We stopped them. We survived, and we stopped all the 160. On the valley, we found after the war 250 tanks.
I decided to see the region where the most savage battles were fought for myself, so I drove up to the Golan Heights that same afternoon.
I am in Tiberias now, on my way up to the Golan Heights.
The Golan Heights is a spectacularly beautiful area in the north of Israel. It is about an hour and a half away from Tel Aviv by car. The roads leading here are very good quality, and most of them are 2 lanes wide. After you've passed Tiberias, the scenery will change, becoming more hilly, with lots of grassland and the occasional trees.
This tank behind me has been here since the Yom Kippur War.
I decided to climb into the tank.
Well, it's pretty scary being in here, especially if you were surrounded by 500 Syrian tanks. I can't even imagine what it must have been like. Well, I'm going to try and record myself climbing out of here, just to demonstrate what a death trap this place is. In case you are hit by another tank, you've got absolutely no chance of getting out, especially if you are down here at the bottom of the tank. So I'm just gonna place this telephone here and then hope I'm not going to break any limbs or anything. In fact, I'm just gonna put it down there. Okay, so let's hope I'll come down in one piece. Oh gosh, this is really super tight here. So I'm just gonna have to go around. Oh gosh, so tight. Oh. Now imagine this guy, Avigdor Kahalani. He was fighting in the 1967 Six-Day War as well, and he completely got himself burnt inside the tank before he could get out. So even after that, he decided to join the army again and came here to fight in 1973. It's quite fascinating to see inside with the fire extinguisher and everything still in place. Well, I have no idea what that is, but I'm sure it's not gonna fire anything. Towards there is where most of the Syrian tanks were lined up, and they were climbing up this way towards the direction of that other hill there. But this is basically what Avigdor Kahalani would have seen from here in the top of the tank. This is another spot here where the Israeli soldiers could see the Syrians advancing, and they could keep an eye on them from above here. You will see in a moment what a great vantage point they had here over the Syrians.
I spent a couple of days hiking around the Golan Heights and the Banyas Nature Reserve, after which I drove through Judea and Samaria to visit Uri Ehrenfeld in Jerusalem. The drive to Jerusalem was amazing, with stunning scenery on either side of the road. I was slightly worried about the military checkpoints, demonized by the Western media, but as it turned out, driving through one was a whiz. I didn't even need to stop. parked up near the museum district and got on the tram to the Theodor Herzl monument on Mount Herzl. The next day I met Ehrenfeld and we drove to the Jerusalem 101 radio station offices, where he was part of a panel of speakers on Friday morning.
Let's go. You want to go?
Yeah.
I'll just tell him hello. We'll go to have coffee first, okay?
Yeah.
אחלה מסחלה. עופר. דיסקי, אתה יודע שזה בא מהגסצים. My name is Uri Ehrenfeld, and I was a sergeant major in the Israeli army. I was serving in a demolition paratroopers airborne unit. And I volunteered to a mission 24 hours before the war broke out. And I was assigned to the Suez Canal, to the most southern Israeli outpost opposite the city of Suez, right at the spot where the Suez Canal drops into the sea. They tried to conquer our post, and we fought for 180 hours, which is, in other words, 8 days. Then, after we surrounded, we were transferred from the Suez Canal to the city of Cairo, to a military jail in the city of Cairo named Abbasiyah, where we spent about 2 months in solitary isolation. They were beating us while we were driving there, and later on also during the interrogations. I mean, I got 100% of disability. Some of it is from the wounds that I got wounded during the war, during fighting, and some of it from the captivity. When they released us, we were flown by the Red Cross aircraft from Cairo to Tel Aviv.
Unfortunately, freedom didn't turn out the way Ehrenfeld imagined it.
It wasn't the way that we expected to be free. Because from captivity we were taken back into an army camp which was closed. Nobody was allowed to visit us at that time. We were together, but the Israeli army wanted to know exactly what happened there. In our days it is different. We changed a lot. About 20 years ago, me and my friends established the Israeli POW Association, which combined all the POWs ever since 1948 till our days. And we managed to achieve quite a lot of rights to the POWs by the government. When we came back, to put us back in a military camp and not let us be free was not the smartest thing to do. We could only communicate with each other, but we were not free to go anywhere. Things that today they learned that it can wait few days, no hurry. I mean, if there was a harm done, it was done already. And today it is different, definitely.
After my meeting with Ehrenfeld, I realized how important it is for veterans to have a support network on which many fighters of the Yom Kippur War rely to this day. So, if you would like to help, listen to Ora Snyder tell you how you can do so.
Well, most people who donate want to be able to enjoy a tax benefit from their donation, so they would do it in their country of residence if we have a Friends organization there. We have Friends organizations in 8 countries around the world, We have a website, and all that information appears there. It's www.zdvo.org.